Joining me now on this broadcast, Wing Commander Anuma Acharya is the spokesperson of the Congress Party. Tuhin Sinha represents the Bharatiya Janata Party. Commander G.J. Singh is an Indian Navy veteran on this show. Also with me, Dr. Vikrant Singh, former Director General of the Uttar Pradesh Police, joining us to talk a little about Red Terror in a moment from now. But sir, feel free to join in. And my colleague Sandeep Unnithan, senior journalist and analyst. And Sandeep, this would be the Navy's perhaps worst kept secret, now out in the open. The galley of Virat being used, for a get-together that was happening on the Lakshadweep island, and halos being used to ferry food and beer.
Well, absolutely, Gaurav. A lot of those details did come out then, it must be said, that the India Today magazine story by Anita Pratap in 1988 did reveal some of those details, the fact that there seemed to be some element of misuse of the aircraft carrier and the Indian naval resources for what seemed to be very clearly a politician's private holiday with his family and friends and a lot of foreign nationals. But these statements by Commander Jaitley actually, throw open a whole new dimension to that personal family holiday. The fact that so many naval resources were deployed for over a week, and the kind of details that he's given, I mean, it just throws new light onto what is, an entirely avoidable exercise. That could have, I think the Prime Minister should have been a little more conscious back then, deploying frontline naval warships, assets for what is very clearly, Gaurav, we have the photographs, it's very clearly a private family holiday for which massive resources, naval resources, warships, carrier battle group, an entire carrier battle group was deployed in and around Lakshadweep. And as Commander Jaitley mentioned, the fact that the Virat seemed to have been used as some kind of a helipad, and helicopters were flying back and forth, as he mentioned, between Bangaram Island and the aircraft carrier. I think it should have been handled better back then. I think better sense should have been prevailed, but, those were the days, Gaurav, and, clearly things have changed a lot since then.
Indeed. Wing Commander Acharya, you've donned the uniform, ma'am. Is there merit in the BJP saying this shows the difference between entitlement, privilege on one side and patriotism on the other, or duty on the other?
My husband is a naval officer, so I have a tri-service in my family, and I must tell you that Prime Minister's visiting aircraft carrier has been our tradition, basically to see the war preparedness as well as motivating our troops. And this has been happening since Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru ji was the Prime Minister. At that time, also in 1950, there are references when he had gone to the naval ships. Srimati Indira Gandhi did go to all the naval ships which were very of the operational importance, like INS Vikrant in 1969, then in 1974 to INS Mysore, and then INS INS Virat also. Also, I must tell you that Mr. Morarji Desai, who was the Prime Minister, he was on INS Shakti in 1979, and a special kind of done cow milk was ferried from the aircraft, by the aircraft to the ship during that time, because he stayed there for a couple of days. So not only the cashew nuts of specific variety and types were brought for him, also the dun cow milk and the goat milk were ferried to that ship. So these are the things which are happening, which have happened. But nobody ridicule it like this. When Mr. Rajiv Gandhi went there, everybody knows, and I don't know, WhatsApp University has really done something very wrong to our veterans, because whatever has been spoken, I was just listening to that, because there was an IDA formed in Lakshadweep, and people have gone there. The island was actually upgraded after that. Infrastructure was created. Lakshadweep became the very first island where computers were installed in each of the offices. The first ones, the planning commission took it because it is not like a mainland development, because that island needed a different kind of a developing. So Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi did spend some time, which was a family holiday, because he had a family. So he spent it there, but it was all through his personal
Okay.
resources, and an aircraft, of course, was with him. Only one aircraft, which was for emergency purpose, was there.
Okay.
Of course, now yesterday, when a day before, when the Prime Minister Modi was there, it was not only INS Vikrant. There were other ships also were kind of embarking or around, because when a Prime
Okay.
Minister goes, that's a national responsibility to be there, because you yourself from an army background, you understand that the galley, when you go there for a thing, you are also offered a kind of hospitality, whatever is available. If you say beer, yes, that's an armed forces. People, they offer it on board. Even if you go to our units, you have seen it all yourself. By disproportionately blowing it up, it's like you're showing it in a very wrong image. Why this?
Okay.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is using the national resources left, right, and center. He goes to
Okay.
Kedarnath, he just tries to meditate there. The entire media,
Okay.
everybody is there. What is that? Why you are
Okay.
doing a thing that
Tuhin
is bad
Sinha.
and nobody? Please remember, no one,
Well,
no Prime Minister
very
ever
happy
mimicked,
Diwali
ever
to you and
mimicked
to
our uniforms. This Prime Minister has the audacity to
you
wear
know.
every kind
Can
of
I
Okay.
come in now? Enough
overall.
of
Okay.
Who
monologue
is
going
coming in
on
between?
Diwali
I
night.
Okay.
don't want. See, when you told me, you gave me a
Okay,
chance.
okay.
Let others
Enough
also
Okay.
of
speak
monologue
there.
going on. Can I come in
Okay. No,
now?
no.
Let
One
me
by
speak
one,
in
ma'am.
truth.
So
Gaurav,
you've
somebody is speaking
raised.
truth on your program.
Okay,
Rest all was a
there are
WhatsApp university
multiple.
thing which
There are
came from a
multiple points
commander.
you've raised. Let me bring in Tuhin Sinha to respond to some of what you've said. And Tuhin, I don't want to repeat it since you heard Wing
I have
Yeah.
Commander
more about it.
Acharya.
I have more
Of
about
A
it.
very
course,
happy
of
Diwali to
course.
you, Gaurav. A very
Go on,
happy
sir.
Diwali, Gaurav, to you, to everybody on the show. You know, it is very shocking to see the Congress spokesperson justify the extravagance of Rajiv Gandhi in Lakshadweep on INS Virat. She's justifying that he went with her family for his
I
holiday.
am
Does the
not
family
justifying,
constitute
sir.
of, please don't barge in, ma'am, have the basic
No,
courtesy?
you
Does
have
the
barged in.
family,
You barged in.
does,
You barged in. I haven't started that.
Okay, okay, one by one. Ma'am,
Gaurav, can
let Mr.
you
Sinha complete
ask
her
her to
point.
behave
Then I'll come
herself,
back to
please?
you, ma'am. Go on,
Yeah,
sir.
that's better. You know, does a family of Prime Minister constitute of 35 to 40 people, which includes family, friends, which includes relatives from abroad? That's point number one. The whole cost of this extravagant vacation at the cost of India's Navy. Who was bearing the cost? And now, you know, she's justifying that just because he went there, there was development in Lakshadweep. You know, there were 5 lavish vacations of this nature which were undertaken by Rajiv Gandhi during his tenure. That included Andaman. Did he conceive the Great Andaman Project? The Great Andaman Project, in fact, which was conceived, the Great Nicobar Project, which was conceived in 1970, was lying dormant till about 3 or 4 years back. So, I mean, they
Okay,
can justify these vacations, but fact is there were 5 lavish vacations, which included a vacation to Kanha National Park, which included a vacation to Jim Corbett, which included a vacation to Ranthambore.
but
How
a
many
vacation is a
greenfield?
good
How
idea,
many?
sir.
No. Vacations, 40 people is not a good idea. And since you went there, how many greenfield highways were conceived connecting some of these national parks? So there are 2
Okay,
points over here. 40 people holidays at the cost of taxpayer is certainly not okay. And secondly, they never gave back enough to these islands or to the places they went to. That's a fact.
okay, so let me now bring in Dr. Vikram Singh and Commander
I
GJ
have a
Singh into
point.
this conversation. Absolutely, ma'am. But let me bring in Dr. Vikram Singh for his initial comments. Sir, as a man who's donned the uniform, your take, you've heard both the Congress and the BJP, and you also heard Commander Jaitley, who was a young weapons officer on board INS Virat in 1987. Your conclusion, sir?
Gauravji, you have soldiering in your DNA, and I heard Commodore Jaitley very carefully every word. Words of profound wisdom firsthand, and there's no politics in Commodore Jaitley's words and or his bearing. I would say there's a difference between picnicking, frolicking, and doing soldiering and raising the morale of the forces. What you do when you raise the morale is exactly what the Prime Minister has done. And picnicking with friends and family at public cost is totally unacceptable. Those who have donned the uniform would understand, Gauravji, that there's a difference between a private affair and a public affair. Please take pains to maintain respectable distance. When you are carrying the family, it is totally a private visit. When it is official, then please also go alone and have an agenda for inspection, Sainik Sammelan, and also what you would like to see about the budget and the battle preparedness. Therefore, I would say that picnic is one thing, Frivolous activities are another, and then soldiering, and then who would not like to celebrate Diwali at home in the comfort of their own homes with their friends and loved ones. But it takes a lot of effort to go and spend the time with the soldiers and be with them and eat the frugal meals that they are having. Well, I would say that there is an absurd comparison between the two, and this cannot be compared with pleasure at public cost.
Fair enough. Commander G.J. Singh, the ship has an outstanding galley. Kitchen for the, as it's known elsewhere. Food is prepared for about 1,500 sailors at all times. So that galley is operational 24/7. But the point that food was prepared and ferried by chopper for the PM and guests. Now, even if it's marked as an operational training sortie on paper, is that correct, sir? Or is that par for the course? Wing Commander Acharya also mentioned that a special kind of milk was brought in for Morarji Desai. Goat milk was brought in. Special kind of cashew nuts were brought in. So this is par for the course.
Thank you, Gaurav, for first of all having me on the show, and happy Diwali to all the viewers. Let me put some facts straight, because I would like to speak very objectively. When you put the Prime Minister of a country like the Republic of India on a far-off island from the mainland, security of that Prime Minister is the prime responsibility of the Indian Navy. And Indian Navy, being a proud service, never refuse it. Number two, the organizational capability, the capacity at a short notice. Yes, we got this intimation that the Prime Minister will be visiting Bangaram Islands. First of all, he was to hold a cabinet meeting there, followed by holidays. And it was just for 2 nights, 3 nights, not more than this. And when it comes to organization capability of Indian Navy, do you think putting up a few generators on the island for lighting is any problem? Can we say to the Prime Minister of India, no, we can't do it? Secondly, naval service is the only service where we have regular person in uniform who are trained cooks at INS Hamla in Bombay, Mumbai, and the stewards who know how to organize parties, because the parties are not organized unlike in the Army and Air Force. We have a proper Navy orders, Navy instructions as to how to hold the party, how to serve, how to make preparations, which are coming down into the Indian Navy from the British times. So therefore, to organize few cooks at the Bangaram island, or for that matter, raising an infrastructure for the Prime Minister of India, of a country as great as India, I think is not a big deal for Indian Navy.
No, but Commander, I think Commander Jaitley's point is not the Prime Minister and his immediate family. It's about the extended family and 40-odd guests. For foreign guests, the Indian Navy is not the Indian Navy.
Rajiv Gandhi had guests. He had
Sir, the Indian Navy is not the Ashok Hotel. The Indian Navy is not Taj Palace Hotel.
And it was not converted into a show hotel because, let me tell you, because I was
serving the Prime Minister and his family is one thing. Serving foreign guests, is altogether something else. But I want to bring in Sandeep Unithan for a moment before I bring in Commander Jaitley. Commander Jaitley was on board.
Something too.
Sir, give me a moment. Let's keep this conversational. The ship has a galley. Sure, but he wasn't ferrying the food himself. No, my point is, sir, hear me out. Commander G.J. Singh, hear me out. Yes, we have the concept of Zomato and Swiggy in today's day and age. But if Indian Navy helos were being used as Zomato and Swiggy for an extended party of 35, 40, if, as Commander Jaitley puts it, he was a young officer on board, Sandeep, that would be something else.
Well, absolutely, Gaurav. The issue is not about just the Prime Minister or his immediate family. I'm sure none of this would have actually, attracted any attention had it been just the then Prime Minister and his immediate family. But the fact is, there was a very large component of friends, families, film stars, all of that on the island, and it's very clearly from what Commander Jaitley is saying, that a lot of that hospitality was extended by the Navy as well. So I think that is where, you have serious questions being raised on why was the Navy asked to do all of this. It wouldn't have, again, to repeat, it wouldn't have been a problem if the Prime Minister was doing that while he was on vacation. He's entitled to do that. He could well have said he was out there to witness the Indian naval exercises, and then he decided to have a family holiday. But then this is clearly not just a family holiday. It was a very exceptional family holiday where a lot of his friends, family from all over the world seem to have come down there and holidayed on the island, and which is when serious questions have been raised, as they were then, and as Commander Jaitley has raised now. The fact is that there was serious issues of the use of public funds to fund what was clearly, a private family vacation with a lot of extended family and friends flying in. Gaurav.
So, Commander Jaitley, the point that you're making is it's not about the Prime Minister or his family, it's about the larger entourage. Is that the point that you were making, sir?
Correct. See, it's just that the amount of naval resources that were put in place for a holiday trip of the Prime Minister and his friends was enormous. Parties go on, of course. Anybody who comes on the naval ships, we take care of them beautifully in the best possible way. I fully agree with Commander GJ saying that we are equipped with that. We want to take care of the guests. And here happens to be the Prime Minister.
the government of the
And
day.
let me tell you, even in those days, as a young lieutenant, I didn't find something abnormal. Let me tell you very clearly. We said, yeah, it's a part of our duty. Let's do it. And we were doing it. But now when I look back and see how things have changed over the past few years, now I really feel very sorry how the nation was being looted by some people for so many years, so many years. Our
That's
wing
pretty
commander,
strong language.
Acharya said that even earlier Prime Minister used to go, Jawaharlal Nehru used to go. Yes, now I feel it was a misuse of resources. If they are going for a trip for 7 or 8 days, very bad. If they are just going for a day or two, perfectly fine. They are inspecting the troop, perfectly fine. They are accepting their hospitality, perfectly fine. But the whole fleet anchored are going around here and there for full 8 or 10 days, around 9 or 10 ships. This is totally sheer wastage of the naval resources.
Gaurav,
Okay.
I want to make a point here.
Quickly, sir,
If
so
you
that I can bring in
permit me.
Wing Commander Acharya also, but go ahead, sir, complete your point, sir.
You see, what I want to tell you is when a prime minister of the country goes on a faraway island and we have to ensure security, it is not only security of the sea, it is underwater security. We have to place anti-submarine ships there with sonar system because the whole area needs to be sanitized.
Yes.
Aerial sanitization is required. We have to also ensure that there is no aerial threat to the Prime Minister coming from any hostile aircraft, from any hostile missile. So all these factors have to be taken into calculation. You just can't keep the Prime Minister there undefended. It has to be defended from all actions. And it is
Okay.
naval's prestige question.
Dr. Vikram
It
Singh
is
has a
question
smile
of
on
the
his face, and
prestige
I'll
of
come
the
to him,
Indian
but I
Navy.
have to
No
bring in.
naval chief will refuse it.
Okay,
Because
Wing
we
Commander
serve
Anu
the
Gaurav ji, the
Acharya.
moot point is,
we
the
serve the
main
government
point
of the
is,
day. He's a prime minister.
was there
And he knew
misuse
his
of government
limits.
funds?
How much
And
to
Okay.
was
use?
there misuse of government funds
Then
when
he
somebody
gave
chooses to
Okay,
have
one by
Narendra.
one, one by one. Everyone talking at the same
Yeah, I
time.
want to
Only
tell
Wing
you,
Commander
Gaurav,
Acharya. Only Wing Commander Acharya for a moment, please. Go on, ma'am.
Couple of things. I have a serious objection to the language family room. The Prime Minister of India is entitled to have his spouse on board either in the aircraft or in any ship, such as our flag of our officers. So
Yes.
that is his entitlement. So you can't call it family room. First time Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the one who stayed overnight and the full day on a ship. So he also
Yes.
stayed in the senior-most officer's room. So this
Yes.
kind of language, I have a serious objection to that. Secondly, people are saying that he spent a holiday with the Diwali with the sailors. All I have to say is when you go to Ladakh, fine, those people are away from their families. But here on Vikrant, people on essential duty would have celebrated, they could have been there on duty, and others could have celebrated Diwali, which did not happen because the Prime Minister of India went there. And then, to my information, and since I am a wife of a naval officer, I am again telling you, I have the information day before yesterday, how many ships were around there. So you can't just leave your Prime Minister like that. And then
Yes.
you come to this kind of a this thing, that phenomenal wastage of national resources. Let me ask you, what was that Vantara visit to the in Gujarat? What was that? Was that not wastage of national resources? What was that Dwarka underwater puja by Prime Minister? Was that not a national wastage of national resources? Then what is that Kedarnath trip when Prime Minister sits there, the entire people cover him? And so far, no Prime Minister has ever done any mimicry in the dangri like of a uniform and things. This is our Prime Minister. Even the Prime Ministers of America, the President of America, when they go for Thanksgiving, they go in their normal blazer. Then if Mr. Rishi Sunak also, when he went for Christmas wishing, he also went in his normal attire. Why Prime Minister has this obsession to every time mimic in our uniform? He's not entitled to wear anything like that. If it is like Amazon, he has purchased from Amazon, then it's a different thing. But it's so demeaning of the armed forces. He should not take us for ride. And then this Prime Minister have been using all kind of resources for all kind of wastage. We do not say anything to him only because somebody has to ridicule our earlier Prime Minister. It's a so shameful. I must tell you that even Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he used to go to Manali, people used to say on a vacation, he used to go every week, every year, for 1 week. People used to say that there is a lot of disturbance to the locals there. So this is a kind of thing. Is it a national debate? What is our discourse?
Let me bring in. Permit me to decide what makes a debate. You can target the opposition, you can target the government and the opposition.
You can't decide
but
that. Mr. Hiren Joshi will decide. You cannot
no,
decide that.
Well, you may be taking dictations from somewhere. You may be taking dictations from anywhere. But this is where I will stop you. Tuhin Sinha, you want to respond on the aspect of the Prime Minister wearing uniform or donning the uniform? The Congress party finds it objectionable.
So by donning the uniform, the Prime Minister gives a sense of, please don't come in between, ma'am, have the basic courtesy. By donning the uniform of the armed forces, the Prime Minister gives them a sense of oneness. He's one among them. But let me just streamline the entire discussion with you, since the Congress spokesperson was meandering all over. There are two basic questions. There are two basic questions which remain unanswered by the Congress party. Can the naval assets of the country be used as personal devices to enhance your personal holidays of 40 odd people? That is the question which the Congress has not been able to answer. And the same simple answer over here is no. The second question, can naval officers be used as errands boy no matter what the situation is? Can they be used as errands boy by the Prime Minister of the country? The answer again is unequivocally no. But the Congress's perverse sense of entitlement will not allow them to take a stand on the issue.
Sandeep, does this become the debate, entitlement versus patriotism, as it's being pitched? Is there a Lakshman Rekha that needs to be maintained? Yes, vacation, spend time with the armed forces as any head of state or government, that's your right. However, when there's an extended family in tow, when there are friends in tow, and the Navy is serving them, as Commander Jaitley puts it, instead of, it could have been the ITDC, it could have been the Lakshadweep administration, it could have been any hotel, any private hotel anywhere. But why the Navy, Sandeep?
Absolutely, Gaurav. And that's literally the nub of the issue here. The fact is that there was a very large entourage, and the Navy, very clearly the Navy didn't say no. I think they were just being really nice and polite when they were asked to do what they were asked to do. And like I said, it wouldn't have been an issue if it had just been the Prime Minister and his spouse. These are, par for the course. You have Prime Ministers with their families. They have visited in the past as well. But this one is problematic simply because of that very large entourage that was there on the island, and therefore the Indian Navy inadvertently seemed to have, as Commander Jaitley mentioned, seemed to have been used to service that family holiday, a very large family vacation. That seemed to have extended for about a week, during which time the Virat carrier battle group was in the vicinity of the Lakshadweep island. Now, I'm not sure, Gaurav, whether the Prime Minister actually embarked on the Virat and did the kind of exercises that we saw with Prime Minister Modi here off Karwar. That seemed to be, in the realm of speculation, because even the stories that we saw in India Today magazine back then didn't seem to indicate that the Prime Minister did anything of that sort. He seemed to have spent a lot of time on the island with friends and with family. With every Prime Minister is entitled to a vacation, but when it comes to spending the resources of the state to look after friends, extended family, especially those who have come in from abroad, it raises several questions.
Sure. But Tuhin Sinha, the point that Commander G.J. Singh makes, Rajiv Gandhi was Prime Minister of India at that point of time. If he was on an island, his protection is the responsibility of the Navy from air, sea and land. If the aircraft carrier battle group was around, they were just carrying out their exercises.
The primary question over here is on the number of people who accompanied him. And by any stretch of imagination, you can do various counts of it. I think there were 35 to 40 people, which is simply not justified. So imagine.
35 to 40.
Sorry? Yeah. So the resources, the kind of resources.
It's an exaggerated figure. They were not more than about 12 to 30.
Exactly.
Okay.
No, there were, I just read, even before coming for the show, I have just, gone to the net to do a search. So there were many more than that. But the point is, when you include your extended family, which includes relatives from abroad, when you include a friend's family, obviously that is a wastage of national resources. Nobody is disputing a holiday. Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji used to go on holidays, but those were very private holidays. Those were very frugal holidays. Those were holidays befitting a head of state. These were not the lavish holidays which Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi always went for. And like I said, he never gave back to those places.